and you can call me just Bong. And I have one good news and one bad news. One good news is this is last lesson of today, and after this class you can go home. And bad news is this lesson is about economy.
Oh,
Do you
no.
like economy? No, nobody. Then maybe if you feel hard to understand about this topic, then just don't hesitate and ask the question. Yes. Okay, let me introduce myself briefly. As I already said, I'm Bong, and I'm a university student in my country, South Korea, and I'm studying international trade and business. And I have most interest in trade dispute and trade development. So today and on Wednesday, I'd like to talk about those things. So especially for today, I'd like to talk about FTA, and especially for the benefits of FTA for Canada. Do you know what is FTA? Oh yes, everybody knows. I think you are good at economy. What does FTA stand for? Free trade. Yes. Yes. This agreement is basically for free trade. So the purpose of this agreement is to remove or reduce the trade barrier. Every country has trade barriers. What is trade barriers?
To protect their own country's industry.
Yes, that is the purpose of trade barriers. Like you said, tax. Yes, like exactly tariff is the most common type of trade barriers. So there is a lot of things. Not only for tax, there is a kind of import quota or subsidy, and those things are also could be trade barriers. So the meaning of to reduce or remove trade barrier is countries promise to remove their tariff, the tax for imported product. So, for example, Gina's country is want to export something to Ayaka's country. But Ayaka's country has too high tariff, like 40% or 50% tariff. Then Gina's country have to pay the expensive tariff. But if they have huge amount of international trade exchanging, then they can promise just okay, from now we have no tariff for Gina's country's product. Instead of that, Ayaka's country can suggest to then Ayaka's country, then you also remove the tariff for my country. Like that agreement is free trade agreement. Free trade agreement is basically more effective to country has a huge amount of international trade. Like Canada also, I think. Canada also, so okay. Let's see this political cartoon. Can you guess who is it?
Barack Obama.
Yes, Barack Obama, the president of the US. Can you guess what this political cartoon means? Actually, there is a kind of historical background. When Obama was a candidate of the election for the president, he promised to change the clauses of NAFTA. He promised to change the clauses and the conditions of NAFTA, but actually he didn't keep the pledge until now. So this political cartoon satirized the fact that Obama didn't keep his pledge until now. Maybe the person who drew this political cartoon thought that the fact that Obama didn't keep his pledge, the fact is important. Yes, the fact is important because the NAFTA is very highly related to our Canadian economy and your life, your employment or your job. So that's why I'm talking about the benefits of FTA. Canada is very highly. Canada has very huge amount of international trade, and 60% of Canadian GDP comes from only international trade, and this is the highest percentage in G7 countries. And also Canada has very high interdependent relationship with the US. For example, last year Canada imported for almost 50% of imports from US, and Canada exported over 70% of exports to US. So now you know Canada economy is very highly related to international trade things. Okay. Do you have any questions about so far? No? Good student. So, like this, Canada has high interdependent relationship with the US. So maybe that's why NAFTA is the most important free trade agreement for Canada. I think everybody heard about NAFTA at least once. And I think everybody knows about NAFTA just a little bit. But did you know there was the FTA before an FTA between Canada and US before NAFTA? No.
So it started from the FTA between USA and Canada?
Yes, USA and Canada. And there was FTA before NAFTA. In 1988, there was an FTA called Canada-US FTA. And this, I don't know, I can say CUSPTA, but yes, maybe this FTA was developed as a NAFTA in 1992, including Mexico. So I think this FTA is, I think it is very long time ago, and in my opinion, it is the oldest FTA in my opinion. When people talk about NAFTA in Canada, I heard many Canadian people didn't like to make this agreement, or many people had no interest about this agreement. But anyway, NAFTA is in force now, and NAFTA was signed. What I would like to say is there is a reason why the Canada and the US or Mexico decided to make this agreement, because basically they can benefit from the NAFTA. That's why. But I want to say the Canada is the most beneficiary of the NAFTA because there are three reasons I choose. Okay, think about the Canadian economy. How do you think? I mean, how can you explain about Canadian economy? Stable. There's many people. The economy. Stable economy. Do you agree? Maybe. Yes. I heard most people explain about Canadian economy as a stable economy or balanced economy. Basically, stable economy means Canadian economy doesn't extremely change, like not extremely good or extremely bad or stable means basically annually the status is almost the same or grow gradually. And balanced is about international trade. It means basically the amount of export and import is same. Not exactly same. It is impossible to. If the amount of export and the import is almost same, then we call it. We can call the economy is balanced. So Canadian economy situation was stable and balanced, and I think until now Canadian economy is very stable and balanced. So the reason why Canada can get more benefit from the FTA this is one of the reasons because stable economy is less influenced by world economy. Nowadays the Canada also a part of the world economy, and it is a kind of inevitable thing to. So if economy situation is unstable, then the economy had more influence by the changing situation of world economy. So I call like this economy is healthy or strong economy, and healthy and strong economy has immunity about the changing of world economy. So they can get benefit from like this agreement, like this international trade things more than a country has unstable economy. That is the first reason. That is the first reason why I think Canada can benefit more about the NAFTA. Are we on the same page? Any question?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The stability of the Canadian economy.
Oh, sorry, I can.
When Canadian economy is stable,
yes.
Is it due to the NAFTA agreement, or because it is stable, it's sort of protected against international economic problems?
The stable.
What's the main point?
The stable economy is.
Yeah. Okay, let me rephrase the question. I sort of probably.
No. I mean, basically.
I think you're correct. Your immunity.
Yes.
The immunity that you said because of the agreement, the NAFTA agreement.
Yes.
Canadian economy is more stable and
Yes.
it's also immune against the crisis like war, turbulence in the world economy.
Yes.
So, okay.
Because basically because of FTA like NAFTA, they can basically the economic situation is getting better, and they can earn more. They can sell. I mean, they can sell more to other countries. So I will talk about the thing later. But basically, the role of FTA is make economy also stable. But before NAFTA, Canada already has stable economy, and just yes, like those things are circulate. Yes, I will talk about that later more. And okay, so my first reason was economic situation, stable economic situation of Canada, and the second reason. From the beginning of my presentation, I said FTA is more effective to country, especially has huge amount of international trade. And as you can see, Canada and US has very huge amount of international trade for each other. Then I'd like to ask why they have like this huge amount of international trade. Can you guess? There, yes, with the US. Yes, with the US. Yes, it is because of geopolitical reason. Geopolitical reason. Okay. What is this? Yes, it is American continent, and here is Canada, Mexico, and other South American countries. Think about it. How many neighbor country Canada has? Maybe two, one or two. It's very few. But then think about other Asian countries. They have lots of neighbor. So it means they can choose their trade partner with more choices. But Canada had no choice to choose their trade partner. For example, you want to buy a bread, and there is bakeries in the city. Then you can compare those stores, the bakeries. Maybe B bakery has most reasonable price. Then if you care about the price, then you can go to B bakery. Or D bakery has good quality of bread, then you can, if you consider about the quality more, then you can go to the bakeries, right? The bakery. But near your place, there is only B bakery. There's only B bakery, and then if you want to buy bread, you have to go to this bakery, even though this bakery has not good quality of bread or it is expensive. So this situation is a kind of Canadian situation because long time ago, maybe the time countries started to internet trade with other country, it was really hard to go to other countries like Europe or Asia. So it is a kind of inevitable situation. They had to trade with US. So that's the reason Canada and the US has like this huge amount of international trade. And some people ask. Oh, okay. I'd like to ask. Is this huge amount of trade before FTA or after FTA? What is your opinion?
The difference before FTA.
Yes, I mean they start to they like this interdependent relationship is before FTA or after FTA? Before?
They're the same? The same?
Same?
I think the same.
Same. Yes, actually it is both. Before FTA, they already had huge amount of exchanging. Maybe in the 1970s, already 70% of exchange. There was already 70% of exchange between US and Canada. 1980s, over 60% of exchange, but there was over 60% of exchange between US and Canada. And as I already said, 1988, FTA was signed, and in 1992, NAFTA was signed. So actually, Canada decided to make this agreement because they already had like this huge amount of exchange. Then we can find another reason. Look at this number. 73% of exports only for US. Basically, what do you think? The NAFTA like FTA is more beneficial for exporter or importer? Exporter?
Both.
Yes.
I said both.
Both. It's basically both, but the benefit starts from exporters. So the reason why Canada can benefit more from FTA is because Canada is one of the biggest exporter in the world. Do you know what kind of industry or product Canada exports?
Natural resources.
Oh yes, very correct. Canada has very many kind of natural resources. For example, forestry industry. 50% of Canadian territory is forest, and Canada is one of the huge exporter of pulp. Pulp is processed wood making paper. Canada is the second largest largest export of pulp in the world, and also half of paper. I mean paper for newspaper is Canadian in the world. So most of people, maybe most of people reading Canadian, literally Canadian newspaper in the world. Then how about the other thing?
Maple syrup. Maple syrup.
Maple syrup, that is my favorite, but it is not from here. But maybe Canada is very famous about mining thing. There are a lot of natural resources under the ground of Canada. The minerals. Canada has very many kinds of minerals, and they have many. So maybe 17 kinds of the minerals reserve is ranked the top 10 in the world. For example, gold, silver, platinum, diamond, and also the raw materials like iron, tungsten, bauxite, aluminum, uranium. They have really a lot. And Canada exports 3/4 of these natural resources to other countries, and including oil. I think you already know Canada has oil reserve, and they are exporting oil. In the province Alberta, there is oil sand, and Canada make oil from oil sand and export it. But don't surprise, it is very huge amount. Do you know OPEC? OPEC is the group of countries which have oil reserve, and Canada is non-OPEC country. But among non-OPEC country, Canada has 90% of oil reserve. It is not discovered, but they have 90% of oil reserve, and now they producing oil, and this oil is exported to US. 99% of this oil is exported to US. So as you can see, Canada is big exporter in the world. Then how can they benefit? As I already said, if country has free trade agreement, they reduce or remove their trade barrier, simply tariff. So this exporter doesn't need to pay tariff when they export their things. What does it mean? They don't need to pay tariff.
They can save money.
Yes, they can save money because if they save money as much as this tariff. Think about the price of anything, goods or services. What made price? For example, wage. What else? Material. Or they also pay for skill like patent. Or they have also tax or advertisement. There are many things make price, and all tariff also. When you buy something, and when you pay for it, you pay also tariff. So if export is if there is no tariff, very simple. Of course, price will become lower than before. So low price mean more competitiveness in the world market. So they can maybe, for example, Canadian company can earn more money, because if the product has same quality and only Canadian product has more reasonable price than other products, then of course people will want to buy Canadian product. And if Canadian company can sell more, so they can earn more money, maybe they can invest to their product, so they can improve their product, or they can improve their product. Then also product quality will be better, and then customer more want to buy Canadian product. It is kind of a positive way of cycle. Yes, and many demand bring many demand of Canadian. Many demand make many more supply, and the companies start to produce more. They also can save their money by massive produce. So like this, just to reduce or remove tariff is like this, can make huge benefit. Okay. I have statistic about the benefit of NAFTA. So let's see. Compared to 1992, at the year NAFTA was signed, the amount of trade increased 3 times from 1992. And about occupation, the 2,300,000 of occupation was created. It is 17.5 increasing compared to 1992, and this is the most important thing. I said Canada is biggest exporter, one of the biggest exporter in the world. So nowadays Canada is a surplus country about US. Do you know surplus country mean? Basically, surplus mean Canada exports more than Canada imports from US. So that is 5,540,000,000 US dollars. It is last December, last year. It is very huge amount. Any questions so far? Yes.
Does the United States have free trade with Korea?
Yes. From last month, it is very new free trade agreement. Now it is in force.
Oh, really?
Yes. It is. US is the country has the most number of FTA, maybe, yes, in the world.
You said the Canada's economic situation stable and balanced
Yes.
because export amount and import amount are
Yes.
almost similar.
Yes.
Which means the region 3 from the region 3 is Canada also biggest importer country in
Yes.
the world? Importer also?
No, it's importer.
Yeah. Because you said it's a similar amount, so I
Yes.
wonder is Canada kind of biggest importer country?
Yes. Last year, I don't remember exact figure, but last year Canada's export is a little bit more. Export was a little bit more than import, maybe $30 billion, and its import was almost four or somewhere $1 million, but it was very similar. Yes, and this economic situation thing is for all of the countries, and this amount of surplus is only for US. So Canada is basically balanced. Canada has balanced the economic situation, but for US, Canada is surplus country. Yes. Okay. But like these things, like these figures, is not everything. Maybe Canada's the amount of international trade increased 3 times compared to 1992, but it doesn't mean your happiness or your welfare is tripled or like this amount of money. If even though Canada earn like this huge amount of money from US, then it also doesn't mean your salary will be like rise even for 500 even for $50. So it is very different, the macroeconomy and your life, individual life. So I'd like to ask, maybe technical problem. Okay, thank you. So, there is no question so far? It's okay? Are we on the same page? So, I would like to ask to you, how do you feel about FTA? How do you feel about NAFTA? Nothing? Or have no interest, or it's...
Let me like when you say how do you feel, could be based on what are the results of NAFTA, not necessarily just because of the benefits, but there are other people who argue that it's beneficial to certain people in the, say, the firms or the companies, but to ordinary people and to labor, they say it's not very beneficial. And environmentally, in terms of the ecological impact, it is also not. So what do you say about how do you balance off the downsides? You know, because I think the topic as you had it there was what NAFTA brings.
Yes.
So it could bring environmental disasters, unemployment in certain cases, and so what have you seen? What have you discovered so far about some of the negative effect that might even cancel or sort of overshadow the benefits? Just a question.
Yes. Because of NAFTA is, like I say, zero-sum game. Maybe NAFTA can guarantee all of countries' happiness, or all of the countries, or all of the specific industries, the development. So zero-sum game means basically if someone gets something, somebody have to lose it. That is zero-sum game. So your gaining is same. So your benefit plus others. Business.
Yeah.
No, it's equal. And so this like that. Of course, there is the like that bad aspect of NAFTA, because as I already mentioned, the NAFTA remove trade barriers, but trade barrier is basically for protecting national market from foreign companies. So the reason why I talking about this, even though there is like that benefit, we should care about like the things, specific things. Specific things, it's really easy not to consider. So your question.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Most people probably don't feel there's such a big difference compared to 30 years ago or something.
Yes.
The economy hasn't benefited that much, hasn't changed that much. And I remember a lot of people didn't want NAFTA 20 years ago, you know, because Canada, we felt, was sort of in the middle. Mexico had really cheap labor and the States was at the top, so Canada had no advantage. So it hasn't really changed. So I think if people think about trade at all, they're thinking more about globalization and global trade.
Yes.
But the trade relationship with the United States, I think people think just never changes. It's always going to be about, you know, 70% free trade agreement or no free trade. It's usually the same, you know.
Yes. You're asking?
I'm saying, how do you feel about NAFTA? I think most people just, they accept that trade relationship with the United States probably remains basically the same.
Yes. Basically, we can't feel like that, like this huge benefit. Like we can't feel.
Right. You said that, yeah.
Yes. Only maybe extremely rich people or people who has big company. Maybe they can feel like the benefit of the FTA, and also FTA has like this dark side, or some people had to lose their job or the national domestic company took away their market share from other companies. That is the problem of the NAFTA or FTA. But I'd like to ask is, then should we stop it? Like, should we stop not FTA, or we have to, cancel this agreement? Oh, okay, just let me talk about my opinion. I think actually we can't stop this, and I think we don't need to stop this because we are already in the world economy, and Canada or every country is a part of the world economy, and NAFTA battery low. Yeah. I can continue. Yes. Maybe then in like this situation, FTA makes country more like the FTA makes country has more strong bond between each other. So FTA is not just about commercial, like not just about selling something or buying something. It is already FTA is a kind of politic, and it is, yes, nowadays it is using as a kind of politic between among the country, and definitely, of course, the very first time there is many confusing situation when countries start to FTA. Somebody arguing about their losing job, or the national industry will be collapsed, but in the end of like this agreement, they can have benefit from the FTA as by time goes, yes, gradually, and also one of the reason why I think Canada strongly needs FTA is, as I already said, Canada has very many natural resources, but this is very powerful weapon also, and it will be how can I say? It will be a kind of currency of the power in the world economy. Natural resources will be a currency of power. So, in my opinion, Canada needs to find more potential customers, not only US, because nowadays Canadian interdependent relationship with the US is kind of too much. So through the FTAs, like not NAFTA, FTAs with other countries, Canada can become independent from US. So I talked about the benefit of NAFTA from past until now, and I also talked about the future FTA's benefit. So that was my point. And okay, so far, is there any question or opinion about the lecture? Okay, clear. Yes, that was the point. I think FTA bring more benefit than disadvantage, especially for Canada, because of Canada's economic situation and lower of the Canada in world economy. So that is the point. So I'd like to talk about my next lesson a little bit at the end of this lesson, because I want you to come my lesson again. So I talked about NAFTA, but actually we didn't mention about Mexico, right? Why we don't talk about Mexico's benefit? Because and if there is like Canada and Uganda FTA, how will it be different from NAFTA? Because of this says stop me.
That's okay. You continue.
Okay. I said what is different between Uganda, Canada FTA, Canada Uganda FTA and NAFTA, but because of, as I said, because of FTA we can get benefit, but also I said FTA is zero-sum game. But how about the country losing something because of our gaining? So for next lesson, I'd like to talk about like these things, the effect of globalization and the history of the trade policy in the world, and also fair trade. As that was my lesson. And if you guys have no any other comment, then thank you so much.
Okay, so